7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to The Reveal, a show where news is made.
Drug overdose deaths have now outpaced car crashes in the state of Georgia. In 2017, there were 1,500 deaths, and drug treatment facilities are struggling to keep up. And that's created a market where unlicensed facilities are operating with little to no oversight.
He's my son.
A rising baseball star in high school, Luanna Wheaton says her son was popular with the older kids.
They took him to parties.
Parties led to drugs.
It's been heart-wrenching. It's been tough. Never, ever, ever, ever imagined this.
When it became clear Chad would need professional help, the family borrowed money to send him to Discovery House.
The Discovery House approach to recovery is unique.
They assumed if the drug treatment program was open, it must be licensed.
They detox him, and he gets massages, and there's meditation, and there's Tai Chi.
But Wheaton says after 3 weeks in the program, Chad had yet to receive many of those services.
He was bored to tears.
While the rehab facility rents traditional apartments to house clients, she expected structure to keep clients away from drugs. Chad had a roommate.
Well, then they brought in a third guy, and he was just whacked out.
He wasn't clean.
No, he wasn't clean.
But when Wheaton asked why the program wasn't living up to its promises, she was told it was her son's fault.
Chad's uncooperative. He's belligerent. He walks in and out of here like he owns the place.
Would not even process it.
Daryl Hall, the man who founded and manages Discovery House, didn't want to talk about Chad's case specifically. The family did file a civil lawsuit, and he has been court-ordered to refund part of their fee.
You know, all that sort of history now.
But Hall did welcome the opportunity to defend his program.
You can walk into the best restaurant in Atlanta and you can be the one that, you know, the steak was undercooked and the waiter took forever to get to you, but you don't rate the whole restaurant on that one steak meal.
Hall admits he ran Discovery House for 7 years without a license. He did try to get one in 2014, but the Department of Community Health, or DCH, denied his application. Still, Hall kept his facility open without any state regulation or oversight. 8 months later, a client died of a drug overdose. In his room were prescription pill bottles from people no one claimed to know.
I think that's the only overdose death on site, actually.
But it's not. 7 months later, another client died of an overdose. And 2 months after Hall received his third letter ordering him to close the facility, a staff member died of a drug overdose, the needle still in his arm when Hall found him.
He was a complete shock. He had been clean and sober for a while, for years, a couple of years, I think.
The string of deaths prompted Duluth police to file their own complaint with DCH. The department finally investigated 6 months later.
You received one cease and desist letter, you received another cease and desist letter, you received another cease and desist letter, you received another cease and desist letter, but you never stopped. Is what you were doing, in your mind, more important than following the law?
It's very important for me to follow the law. The letter of the law is the point.
Hall says it was DCH that misunderstood his program and insisted on a license he legally didn't need. And because his name was associated with Narconon, a drug treatment program banned from operating in the state, his name had been blacklisted. But in the summer of 2018, he did finally get that license under the name Recovery Works.
We have 2 medical doctors and a psychiatrist that operates as a clinic. They just went in, took my name off of it, and absolutely they licensed the program.
So it really wasn't the program that they had a problem with, it was you.
It's personally me.
Instead, Hall used the name of one of those doctors, Jeffrey Rausch, a recovering drug addict actively receiving treatment himself. According to the Georgia Composite Medical Board, Rausch was convicted 3 times for drug possession and spent 6 months behind bars. While not unusual for a professional with a history of addiction to later treat others, at the time DCH agreed to license the program, Rausch's medical license was still on probation.
And of course, Tara and Melanie from the House and the Senate.
Commissioner, could we talk to you for a few moments? That's my voice as I tried to talk with Commissioner Frank Berry as he left a meeting here at the Capitol. But his staff initially blocked me here at the top of the stairs.
I think my reporter has a few questions for you.
I wanted to ask him why DCH repeatedly sent cease and desist letters to the program without ever actually enforcing those letters, or why they suddenly had a change of heart. His only response:
We always believe in helping people get the care that they need. Thank you.
It infuriates me.
Wheaton says after that meeting with Discovery House, her mom borrowed even more money to enroll Chad in a different rehab program. And for the first time, there is hope.
And does it seem different?
Oh my gosh.
How does this one seem different?
Because I see him better. And I see him go to meetings every night.
Wheaton says our state has to figure out how to get it right. It has to be more aggressive, shutting down unlicensed facilities, or actually help them deal with the deficiencies so they can operate. She says there is just too much at stake.
Life, sobriety, future.
Dr. Rausch has since had his probation on his license lifted, and again, Discovery House, doing business under the name of Recovery Works, is licensed. Now, while I was doing my research, I did talk with several people who support this program, including the mother of one of the men that died with a drug overdose.
Rebecca, why isn't the state more aggressive shutting down these unlicensed facilities?
And that's been my driving question all throughout this. The state simply says it's following the guidelines set by lawmakers.
So do they feel there's a problem, and do they want to do more?
Well, if you were to take a look at their budget, the answer would be no. They have 5 surveyors to cover the entire state that's to handle licensing as well as any complaints that come in. They've received no additional funding in the past 5 years, and by their own admittance, they haven't asked for any.